morning everyone, and welcome to another video. Now, as you might have seen, as of yesterday, April 5th, 2026, we now see the resurrection of Christ in the world. But now it is Monday, April 6th, 2026, and we are seeing the true revenge of Thomas Alexandre Dumas. Now, what is the true revenge of Thomas Alexandre Dumas? Well, you see, in the perspective written by Alexandre Dumas, which is his son, Alexandre Dumas speaks of his father, Thomas Alexandre Dumas, to have been imprisoned and for the truth to have been kept a secret, but he always speaks about his father in the tales essentially winning, overcoming the obstacle. But now we see the real true revenge of Thomas Alexandre Dumas beyond his point of imprisonment, which, imagine now if the true story of his life has been in prison not just for the time he lived himself, but for 4 generations down his lineage now. Which now we arrive at a person like myself, which is Thomas Alexandre Dumas' great-great-great-grandson. And now we see that in the rise of the split from the initial color, which was the slave mother of Thomas Alexandre Dumas, which was the slave mother that which was bought by the Baron, which was the brother of the king, whom was exiled to the island in order for him to run a plantation business. Meanwhile, the true king, his brother Louis, got to live the lavish lifestyle of a king. And just like in the Man of the Iron Mask, now we see that the true king is meant to essentially reveal himself. Which now we see Thomas Alexandre Dumas' revenge 4 generations beyond his imprisonment. So what is the revenge? Well, you see, for some, they might believe that Thomas Alexandre Dumas might have become of a psychotic nature as a result of the imprisonment, and they believe he may have had anger or hatred in his heart as a result of what his life story became. But it's not just his story that was affected, but his lineage, and the story of his lineage was affected. For the rest of Dumas' family's life, we would be mocked and we would be lied to about our entire existence. But now we arrive 4 generations later when we see the revenge. And so would you not say that in knowing the true nature of Thomas Alexandre Dumas, which is reflected in the tales as told by Alexandre Dumas, as told by the son seeking to liberate the father, because that is what Alexandre Dumas was seeking to do by writing the books. He was seeking to liberate his father and his imprisonment. But the French people did not buy into those stories at that particular point, because it became apparent immediately after Napoleon came into power that if you were a person of color, all of a sudden, you are now seen as less than equal within the French kingdom. So what is revenge? Would you not say in the values and the valors of Dante's Inferno, of having ran away from hell your entire life, at that particular point, would you say you step away from hell the moment you yourself decide to say, and the hell ends here? But how do you end the hell? Because see, in the idea of the sinless resurrection, which we are now stepping into the first day of the return of the King, does the King have revenge in his heart? I think that's the people. You can actively say, I'm just human, just as you. I might not have had a pretty story, but just as you, I believe in redemption, where you may redeem yourself in the eyes of the Lord the moment you make it apparent. The moment you become apparent to not just your story, but to the world, and you reveal to them that not in keeping just your story hidden, but their story themselves are hidden, because in that one particular individual is the salvation. And so what is the salvation? It is freedom. That is the ultimate revenge for Thomas Alexandre Dumas. Freedom, which came in the form of revelation and revolution, where now the values of Thomas Alexandre Dumas are reflected in his great-great-great-grandson, whom has seen the truth, whom is displaying to the world the truth. What is the truth? Well, you see, the truth is a fine blade. It is Excalibur, if you wish, which only the worthy could pull from the stone. Because you see, Excalibur is the sword of truth. It is a blade that cuts both ways if you don't know how to use it right. And so why was King Arthur chosen to be he who speaks the truth? Because of his heart. And the idea of revealing the truth, you can only reveal that one truth is only one particular truth to an individual. It is up to the world to make that truth a shared truth at that point. What is the imprisonment of Thomas Alexandre Dumas? And what is his liberation? In the Gospel of Thomas, it is said that when man is consumed by a lion, blessed is the man that becomes a lion. But when a lion is eaten by a man, blessed is the lion that becomes a man. Now imagine if the lion is the Savior. actual return of God here on earth. And the more man consumes him, the more they became him. And the more God consumed man, the more God became man. And so what is revenge? Well, how about we meet at Last Supper? Thank you.